All right, welcome everyone. It's good to have everybody here and to welcome you to the start of our journey together as our class of 2026. I'm Mike Rubin. I'm the principal here at UHS. You may not be seeing me as much as you're seeing a big screen with our information here. We do have a brief presentation tonight. Hopefully it will answer some of the questions you have about transitioning up here to UHS next year. And we'll also have an opportunity for you to ask us any questions you may have as the evening goes along. If there are specific questions, please just type them in the chat. We will make sure we come back to them. As far as the next couple of days, couple of weeks, whatever you need to make this transition easier, I think you're going to find that we're going to be here to help every step of the way. So tonight's just the start of that journey. It's March, and hopefully by the time September rolls around and your students enter here as 8th graders, we will have assuaged any of your concerns and have everybody pretty much ready to go. So riding shotgun tonight for me is Mr. DeMeglio. He's our assistant principal. I'm sure he'll have some things to add as the night progresses, and we're also going to introduce some of our department leaders by name. Some of them are in the meeting and may want to add to some of what we talk about as well. So to get underway, a few short months, believe it or not, our class of 2026 will be high schoolers officially. We specifically talk about the 8th grade like they're our students. They are part of our school. They are not separate from our school. They're not confined to their own wing. They are very much part of who we are as a school and who we are as a community. So as we continue, what we want to do over these next few weeks, and specifically starting tonight, reduce your anxiety, because I'm sure there's some anxiety out there about this. Give you an idea of what some plans that we have in place, and get you excited, not just about grade 8, but really excited about being here at UHS. Please don't be afraid to ask the questions. If there are things that are more private, more individual, we will have plenty of time to set up individual conferences, and you'll hear a recurring theme. Send me an email, make a call. We're pretty quick to get back in touch with people. Today's agenda, we have 3 things we're gonna run through. One is where we are, what we're working on for grade 8, what our plans for next year are, and so you can have some things to be on the lookout for. And finally, any questions that you may have, we'll take some time to answer them. So where are we now? It's from one of my favorite plays, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. It's look on every exit as an entrance to somewhere else. The students we have coming to us will be leaving Whiten, and when they leave Whiten, they're leaving a school that it's a unique orientation in that they'll walk out of school with being the big fish in the small pond, so to speak. And they go to school. 7th graders go to school with kids who are in 4th and 5th grade, 9 and 10-year-olds, and they'll walk into school next year with juniors and seniors, and that's an entrance to somewhere else. It is not going to be the same as Whiten, and it's about opportunity, and I think we do a pretty good job of providing students with a lot of opportunities starting right off in grade 8. So this is what our timeline looks like starting here in March. We're holding this parent open house here tonight. In the next few weeks, our hope is to have the seventh graders visit here during the school day. We deliberately do not have a time on that. We want to make sure everybody's settled into the new routine of coming back to school. We'll be working on course selections for our grade 8 students, since most take the same course of study. In April, while we're putting together student schedules for next year academically, we will be visiting Whiten, not just me, not just Mr. DeMeglio, but our counselors will be bringing some upper class students, and we will be planning for 21-22 in earnest with our grade, soon to be grade 8 students. And where we are now, this has been probably the strangest. I'm sure you've heard this from others. This has been a strange year. It's been a strange year for all of us, but we are in the process of transitioning to in-person learning. And so we are working right now in this current school year. We're social distancing, we have safe plans, but we're also building schedules for next year. So this is that time of year where Mr. DeMeglio and I really are working in 2 years at the same time. And one thing that we want to assure you is that we are going to be connecting whatever is happening in grade 7 this year at Whiten to UHS next year for grade 8. Our teachers are working together, the Whiten teachers, the high school teachers, our administrations, our counselors, and our specialists are all in tandem putting things together for students. What we will be doing in the next few weeks, and this will take us through till about June, is providing you your course schedules and how we provide those, how we put those together. We will be scheduling a full orientation for students for sometime in August. That's something that this year we did not do because of the return to school challenges that we had. Regardless of where we are for September, we have every intention of offering an orientation for August. And it'll be an orientation that'll be, I think, a little different than what we've done in the past, because we want to make sure students have an opportunity to really settle into our school. And we're also going to be providing access to clubs, activities, and sports as we prepare from spring to fall, having Zoom calls with coaches, advisors, captains, and as we become more normalized back to the way things used to be, even having some of these meetings involving our 7th grade students. Mr. D, anything I'm forgetting on the what we plan for the next few weeks?
No, not at all.
Nope. I think
Perfect.
we're good.
Yep.
At the end of the night tonight, you'll be provided a link to schedule a time to visit. Typically, this is a night that we would do in the high school building, but because of the circumstances, it's not. But we'll be giving you an opportunity to schedule tours of UHS where you'll be able to walk around and get a sense of who we are by scanning some QR codes and working with us. And there'll be people here in the building those days as well. We'll be scheduling some conferences at Whiten with the students, just so we get a sense to know each other. And we'll also be scheduling a couple more parent town halls, not just like this, but also smaller scale if those are things that people feel they need. And you're going to get a look at UHS tonight from the inside, as a couple of our students will be showing you the way in just a minute. So with that, and I hope they can hear me, I'm going to turn things over to a couple of students who are in one of our career pathway programs. These are 2 of our digital media students, Colin Caso and Mason Sanford. Mason's going to be working as our producer director, and Colin's your tour guide as they take you around UHS, and I get to put myself on mute and stop sharing my screen and let them do the rest. So Colin and Mason, take it away, my friends.
So hi, I'm Colin Casso. I'm a senior here at UHS. I'm going to give you a tour of our building today. We're first going to be starting down the B wing. This is one of the main hallways in UHS. This is where most of the math is, and there's 2 science laboratories down. It's mirrored, so above us is the same exact floor as down here. During the tour, if you have any questions, you can either put it in the chat or you can say it to me and I'll answer it, because there's going to be a lot of dead space, to be honest with you, as I'm walking through, like for now. We're approaching, like, I call it the 4 maths, because there's 4 math classes right here. I spend most of my time there because I'm a senior. Those are a lot of senior classes. We're approaching to the left here is the first set of boys and girls bathrooms. And as we get down the hall, we see one of the science laboratories is in here. This is what a typical science laboratory is. Currently, this is chemistry in this one right now. I have no idea what they're doing because I do not take chemistry, but maybe you will, but I don't. In here is one of the breakout rooms. I spent, like, my freshman and sophomore year, I spent a lot of time here because I was always here early before school, so I'd always hang out here. That's a great place to do work and get stuff done. I like because the outlet's there and I can charge my iPad. Another science laboratory to the left. And we're making our way up the stairs. During these COVID times, this staircase is down only, but I'm going up it. I guess I'm breaking the rules. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. This is just a pretty average staircase. I go down this one a lot, to be honest with you. Up here is English, foreign language, and history. 2 history classrooms on the left, an English classroom. And it's mirrored, so everything you saw down there is the exact same up here. So I'm not really going to talk a lot about it. Another one of those breakout rooms to the left.
Colin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's Miss Larkin. You should give math and science a huge shout out.
Okay, I will. The math department and, like, the history department don't, like, get on best terms, I guess. So there's, like, a huge rivalry on who can be the best department right now. It's going down pretty heavy. Mr.
But we know the
Blunis
science department really is the best, so that's okay.
I guess so, if you're the one saying it. Over here is, like, a typical classroom. This is what a normal student would see. This is a foreign language classroom. But yeah, this is typically what it would be like. Pretty average, I guess. I don't know. Not much I can really say about it, but we'll continue. Coming down here, this is what I like. I don't know. I call it the Atrium because it's wide open. Most people call it the Titanic because, like, it's shaped like a boat at the front and the back. But it's a good wide open space. Coming down the A hallway here, we have culinary on the right here. This is where a lot of food science classes take place and hospitality management. And we have 2 social studies classrooms, I'm pretty sure, right there, and another staircase here. This one leads down to the gym and locker rooms. So here is the athletic hallway, I would say. We have access to the gym and access to Mr. Carboni's office, which is situated right there. So if you have any athletic questions, you can go to him. He's located right there. His door is always open, so you can go in anytime and ask him a question if you had one. As we make our way down to the left, no, that's your right. To your right is band and chorus. And we're making our way down to the C hallway. And down here, I like to call it like the tech wing because there's a lot of like specialty classrooms down this hallway. We got wood shop, film, and another science laboratory. So in here is our wood shop. This would be our wood shop. A lot of stuff gets done here. It's probably one of the coolest rooms in the building. Definitely a learning experience for me over the years. Taught me a lot of things. And in here is film and studio production. So digital photography, graphic design, and film. Then we have the studio, but it's locked right now, so we won't go in there. But a lot of computer classes get taken in there. Making our way up another set of staircases.
That was the D wing. You're moving to the C wing.
And up here is Mr. Smootok's room. This is where intro to engineering design would take place if the 8th graders take that. I'm pretty sure they do. But yeah, that's where that takes place. And another hallway here. And we have a history classroom on the right. And then we have the 2 art rooms on the right up here. One's overlooking the cafeteria and one's to the right of that. This is where also the ceramics kiln is. So if you're making pottery, that's where it's cured. So in there's the art room. And our final stop is our cafeteria right here. Well, this is where lunch and a lot of assemblies take place. And it's located right here. So that's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed the tour of Uxbridge High School, and we'll see you on the next one. So I'm good, Mr. Rubin, if you are.
Thanks, Colin. Mason, nicely done. I appreciate you taking some time to show us around. Really well done. Thank you both. There were some questions that popped up. We'll come back to them all for the good of the order in a second. As they were walking around, bounce back there. As far as course schedules go, all students will be scheduled into 5 core classes. So every single grade 8 student will be scheduled into English, math, science, social studies, and wellness. And the wellness class is a half a year of physical education, half a year of health. For students that wish to take Spanish, and we'll work with you on this. They will take Spanish 1 in grade 8. They'll be registered to take Spanish 1. Any student who wishes to continue in the music program will be registered for either band or chorus. If they sign up for it, they automatically get it. For those who do not sign up for band and chorus or Spanish, although most students do take Spanish in grade 8, the last class that is assigned to all 8th graders is a class called Career Exploratory or Pathway Exploratory. Rather than having students in grade 8 filter into the upper class electives, they'll take the exploratory class, which will give them 1 quarter in each of our career pathways. So they'll spend a quarter in engineering, a quarter in digital art, a quarter in biomedical science, and a quarter next year beginning with our new business and finance pathway. They'll have a different teacher for each quarter, and the idea would be that as students leave that pathway exploratory, they'll have an idea of what they would like to focus on as they go through grade 9 and 9 through 12. It also allows students to get access to all of our elective areas and not necessarily be limited to just one. Now, if students take career exploratory and they choose not to take Spanish and they choose not to take band and chorus, That's where some of our other electives do come in. Things like Art 1, things like Intro to Foods, and things like Intro to Film, although that is also covered in the digital media pathway. So students do have a lot of access to some of our programs, some of the toys. We have found that immersing the 8th graders in upper class electives in some cases has worked, but in other ways, we were finding that students weren't getting as much of an opportunity to explore as we would have liked. Hence why we've redesigned that pathway exploratory into kind of like a specials block. It also, thinking ahead to next year, will keep the 8th graders with other 8th graders for most of their classes. They take just about everything with 8th graders. The only classes that are mixed, Spanish 1 is mixed. There are some 9th graders who will take it, and even a couple of 10th. And the music classes are mixed. And if a student does take something like Art or Culinary 1, those are, or Intro to Foods, those classes are all mixed grade as well. We typically don't have 12th graders in those introductory classes. It's usually 8th and 9th, maybe 8th, 9th, and 10th. And so again, our 4 pathways, engineering, biomed, business, media, they focus on some of these more softer skills, study habits and working with guidance on interest surveys and starting their future planning. But it also has some pretty strong introduction to the technical skills, but in a way that's safe. For example, the engineering class may spend some time in the fabrication lab, but we don't want them necessarily using all of the same tools that a senior would use. We take safety obviously very, very seriously. But we have some great investments in things like media. Everything that was just shot for that tour was done with something we call a pad casting system, which allows our iPads to be used for live broadcasting. And we have all kinds of great tools, digital cameras, video cameras, drones, laser engravers, anatomy tables for biomed. And as students get along, they won't be necessarily using some of those things in the early years, but as they get along, they absolutely do. And just a quick, another little video here. I will hopefully make sure the sound works this time.
The pathway classes have exposed me to more opportunities that will be useful in the real world, from problem solving to working with others. I'm able to learn more about what excites me, and this has allowed me to narrow down what I'd like to do after high school. I love mathematics and problem solving, so for me, the engineering courses have been right up my alley.
You have to definitely mess with that because the thickness of the material slash what you did with that boxing. Right. Yeah, you exactly. Yeah.
I'm in the engineering pathway classes, and I like that it's really hands-on. You can see what you build. When I get feedback from the industry, I learned that you really got to learn about the real world problems, and you're able to learn different things like the cost of things and how big it is. Learning in these classes, I'd say the highlight has been being able to build different things. Like last year, I built a marble sorter, and we got to go to UMass Lowell and get feedback from different people.
I like the engineering pathway classes because they allow me to explore my passion for engineering while still in high school. I also like that the engineering classes provide me with unique opportunities like 3D printing and even college coding. I'm glad to be taking these classes because they've taught me real world skills that I'll be able to use in my engineering career. The most prominent moment in these classes so far is the field trip I was able to take to a company called Lenza. This experience was very hands-on and allowed me to get a first-hand view of the real manufacturing world. Overall, I would say that the engineering pathway classes have been a great occurrence through my high school years, and I highly recommend that other students get involved with them at Oxford High School.
I think for me, being a part of a pathway class has been really fun and beneficial. And I think it's opened up a lot of possibilities I might not otherwise get if I were trying to explore something on my own.
You're gonna make all the different systems and all the different parts.
Wow, so
It's funny how our innovation pathway programs have mirrored the engineering design process. You know, we built a prototype and we tested it and we went back and we revised it. And since then we've made some adaptations. And as a result, we have a program that our students, our teachers, our counselors, our support staff, and our community can get behind. And we have really enjoyed a lot of success. And I'm so proud of the work and the partnerships that we've been able to pull together over these past couple of years.
And having industry professionals or individuals who've explored the arts come in and talk to you or talk to a class is really helpful because you get to ask questions and learn more about what it is that you may want to explore further in the future as a career is super, super helpful. And I think personally in these kinds of classes, I think having students, take different classes and having the right individuals teach them, is a good thing. Getting to learn more of what you're good at and what you're not good at and what you like and what you don't like and finding more of your artistic style. And when you have the right people teaching you and you have these courses, these classes, they really, get to open up more possibilities, like exploring the arts in higher education, such as college. So having these right classes and having the right people, teach them is super beneficial even in a high school setting.
Okay, just continuing along. Oops, sorry, we don't want to watch that again, I don't think. So from an academic perspective, as we look ahead to the next few weeks and months, our goal for the students will be for them to stay on track, learn as much as possible, and for us, simultaneously, we'll be making that transition to 21, 22, where we have really done a great job. And I think some of the, some of the department leaders who are here can certainly attest to this. You heard from Ms. Larkin, whose team is working together to revamp the science curriculum to make sure grades 7 and 8 are in better alignment. Ms. Pryor is here from the math department. Mr. Silbor and the social studies department just spent a couple of days basically really bringing the 7th grade social studies teachers up to speed with how we're doing things. And I know with math, there's been ongoing curriculum work that's been happening to make sure the students are ready for grade 8 math. So we've been working on all 3 of these domains to make sure we're prepared for when those students walk in. And that's not just about what they know, it's how they learn, specifically because this year has been different. I know we have some of the department leaders here. I don't know if Ms. Pryor, Ms. Larkin, Mr. Silbor, any of you guys want to chime in on that? And you are allowed to unmute yourselves, I think. And if you're not, just tell me.
I don't mind saying something, Mike. I mean, we had to redo the whole social studies curriculum a couple of years ago based on what the new state standards were. And it was pretty exciting about, you know, the way we changed our scope and sequence. Now we're doing more of a, 8th grade is just total civics, which is really a great thing to see. So when they come in, it'll be a civics class and project. Your student will probably have Mr. Halsey. It's a possibility that they'll have Mr. Grady. They're both awesome. And then you go into 9th, 10th, 11th with a global 1, global 2, global 3 thing. And there's AP history and AP Gov available also with a number of electives.
It was almost on cue that Miss Legier showed up, Mrs. Pryor.
Well, I'll speak for a second, and I'm sure she can jump in if she wants. All 8th graders take Algebra 1, and then once they complete Algebra 1, we make recommendations where they go for 9th grade. They may end up taking Algebra 1 at a little bit faster pace over again, or they may go on to Algebra 2, but that's something we discuss at the end of their 8th grade year. And I'll let Mrs. Legier hop in if she wants to say anything.
Little detained there. Sorry about that. So I coming in late to the meeting here. Just that our 7th graders moving up to 8th grade have a chance to have a full year of algebra topics, coupled with some skills to be successful in high school. We learned some of the study skills, time management, and other necessary skills for them to be successful as we go forward. I don't know if there's anything else I need to add to that.
I think that's great. Thank you. I
I'll
don't
jump in
want
real
to.
quick. Oh,
Yeah.
Mike, sorry.
Good. No, I was going to turn it to you, actually. Perfect.
Sorry, I don't think my video's on. I don't think you want my video on, but that's okay. Anyway, I don't know if my video's on. I'm Miss Larkin, and like Mr. Rubin stated, we've been working real hard with the Department of Education and our curriculum director, Wendy Phillips. And I'm super excited for the new possibility of getting the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science curriculum up and running. As far as it's a very phenomena-based driven program, and that's really where we're headed as far as in the high school program is concerned with, you look at the pathways that Mr. Rubin's been talking about, and then science, any of our science curriculum is truly based on these phenomena-driven type of things. So we've really been working hard on, and we're really excited to have the 8th graders start transitioning into this type of education. So welcome aboard.
The other discipline that has really gone through a real incredible shift has been world language. Now, we do only offer Spanish. We do have a couple of students who take American Sign Language through one of our online partners, but we have really shifted what we do and how we teach Spanish. So I know Ms. Hendricks is here representing world language, and I'd like to throw things over to her. I know you're here somewhere, Ms. Hendricks.
I am here. Thanks for having me speak, Mr. Rubin. Hi, all of the 7th grade parents. We can't wait to see your students and all of you 7th graders here next year. We really encourage you to take Spanish in 8th grade. It's a great opportunity to get a jump on your language learning. Usually your teachers will be either like Miss Moquette or Miss Draculich. They're both amazing. Could be me, who knows? But what we really focus on now is the communication. So we are more looking for you to not be perfect in a language, not conjugate verbs, sit and say, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, like maybe your parents did when they were in school. But we're really focused on the communication, reading comprehension, listening comprehension. When you all take the tour of the building, make sure you listen to the QR codes on all 4 doors, because you'll learn about reading, writing, listening, and speaking in short, like 1-minute videos each, and you'll get to meet all the teachers. Yeah, we're just really looking forward to meeting you guys next year. We run through a bunch of themes like identity, community, science and technology. We're basically taking all the things you're learning in your other classes and then letting you explore them in Spanish. So we look forward to seeing you guys next year.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. The other class that I sort of talked about as sort of that core class that we offer in grade 8 is wellness. And grade 8 wellness is a half a year of phys ed, a half a year of health. We have just started working on revamping our health curriculum across all 5 of our grades. Grades 8 and 9 are sort of a combined PE health, and then grade 11 or 10, depending on when the students take it, there's an upper class health as well. The state has been dragging its feet on the new health frameworks. I know Ms. Hill, with grade 8, the students do take phys ed and health all together with other grade 8 students, and you've taught that class both at the old McCluskey and probably the Whiten before that, and most recently here at the high school. So maybe you could share a little bit of insight as to what grade 8 wellness looks like.
Sure. So our grade 8 wellness class, hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Hill. Our grade 8 wellness class is a pretty well-rounded, our students get, like Mr. Rubin said, a half a year of PE. And typically it could be me or Mr. Berkowitz teaching the 8th grade section. We do have 2 other teachers that could be teaching it as well, but Mr. Berkowitz and I are primarily the last 2 years that have been the ones teaching 8th grade. And Ms. Lozo teaches 8th grade health as well as myself. And we try to have a well-rounded program of teaching the students to be just socially responsible, how to be good teammates, how to work together, how to work on different problems and problem solve within themselves. As well as teaching the dynamics of all the games that we play in PE class, and also from the health perspective of trying to introduce conflict resolutions and friendships and how to be good people and good citizens. We try to incorporate all of that into our wellness program in 8th grade. All set, Mr. Rubin?
Thank you very much. I couldn't find the unmute. I'm determined to get through an entire meeting without anybody saying, but wait, you're muted. What will happen in the next few months? You're joining us, and we hope to someday get back to the experience of the pep rally. And we very deliberately, we keep everybody together. We're all one big community here. When we have orientation, it will occur in August. It will not be planned until later in the summer. We'll try and get those dates to you, though, in June. Our hope is to walk out of school this year with people knowing when our orientation days are going to be, somewhere thereabouts. And but we appreciate your patience. We want to, as much as we want to give people the days and times of these things, we also don't want to have to plan things 3 times. And we're really hoping that the start of next year looks a lot different than the end of this one. So some things that we're reviewing, and you just heard this, is, what did we finish and what students need and what supports they need. And you'll be hearing in a minute about some of the supports that we do put in place for students. All of this factors into our planning. And so if you're sitting here and you're watching this and you're wondering, my student has always struggled in X, Y, or Z, or my student really loves this particular subject, or, my student has, socially has a couple of very core friends, but sometimes struggles with some social anxiety, or all of these different things that we have really had interactions with over these last few years. We are happy to help plan with it. It helps our counselors and it helps us prepare for the start of next year, because we want to make sure that the supports we put in place meet student needs, plain and simple. We're focusing right now, as we said, on both curriculum and supports. We're also looking at what struggles students may had, and this is a grades really 7 through 12 domain, that we're looking at how students have struggled or struggled to engage in remote learning and what they're going to need moving forward. So we are planning for on-site, and we're using remote learning this year to drive it. You know, when we first made this slide, actually, we were wondering if remote learning was going to continue, but fingers crossed, we won't have to worry about that. Just jumping ahead, in terms of grade 7, we will be working, we have already been working with special education teams to make sure that the supports that are in place are needed. We will work those into, obviously, the curriculum and the instruction with whatever accommodations are needed. We're also asking our teachers to discuss foundationally the skills and how that relates to content. And we're also looking at regular education interventions that students may need. And these are students who maybe do not have learning disabilities, but maybe struggle with organizational habits or struggle with, you know, access to, you know, if we put things in technology, we use a lot of technology up here. We want to make sure students are ready. And so we make sure that the supports fit the needs. We will, just to share, all students in grade 8 will have an assigned guidance counselor. I believe a few of them are here. We're gonna turn things over to them in a minute. We also have one licensed school adjustment counselor and a school psychologist. That should say there. We also have something that we sometimes assign to students who need additional support. It's called extended learning. It's like an intervention block. It usually is something temporary, but it may be something that a student needs as a place to stay organized, and that's as needed. And something that we want to make sure we reiterate, grade 8 students take their core classes with other grade 8 students. The exception being, like I said, maybe the Spanish class will have some 9th and maybe the occasional 10th grader in, but for the most part, the 8th graders take classes with 8th graders. They eat lunch with the upperclassmen, they take the bus with upperclassmen, they play sports and engage in clubs with upperclassmen. In fact, the upperclassmen are usually pretty darn good to the 8th graders. In those first few weeks, culturally, it's really nice to see how our upperclassmen are the ones who are late to class because they're helping the 8th graders get from point A to point B. There's no telling kids, yeah, you go by the pool on the roof and take a left, and there's none of that. People are genuinely very supportive. And in terms of technology, before I go back and turn things over to the guidance counselors, we will assign the students a school-owned device that stays theirs for their duration of time here. It's used for school. It has a number of safeguards in it. There are insurance options, and they're distributed here. We this year, due to some supply issues, really, we went to Chromebooks over iPads. There are benefits to both. The biggest benefit of the iPad is the touchscreen capability, particularly in things like math and science, some of the digital arts, where the Chromebook is, you know, a bit more like a traditional laptop. We have more ability to monitor with the Chromebook than we do the iPad. It's just different security features that we are investigating and hoping are eventually compatible with the iPad, but right now they are not. And so we have not yet landed on what technology we'll be distributing next year. I think deep down inside, we are hoping that we'll get Chromebooks with touchscreens, which would enable us to have the best of both worlds. But we don't know the answer to that yet. And again, everybody in the world has been moving to the one-to-one environment this year because of the pandemic. So we want to make sure whatever we're able to put in the hands of our students, we're able to procure and distribute. But Mr. Missler and his team will be getting in touch with everybody about all of these different steps to technology. The other thing that we want to really highlight is your students are joining a really awesome school. And the things that have been happening here over the last few years are really, I want to say they're unique. I've started to kind of take, and I shouldn't say this because there's so many of them here. Our faculty is incredible. They care about kids like they're their own. When I first got here and I was meeting with students, the word that they were used to describe was small and community. And I thought that was awesome. Like, that's always the kind of school I wanted to be part of. And a couple of weeks ago, I was participating in the superintendent interview process. And the word that kept coming out from some of the students, from one of the students that we had, and both in that interview and as we were interviewing staff last year, was family, which almost take like the word community and put it on another level. So they're joining your kids are joining our family. And some of the things that have been happening here, they're curriculum wise, they're extracurricular. Our student council has earned a gold medal. The 6 years I've been here, they've earned a gold medal 4 of the 5 years. This year it's not out yet. The other year it was a silver. Our girls basketball team won a regional state sportsmanship award. For Project Lead the Way, we're one of only about 6 schools in the entire state that was named a distinguished school for the amount of participation we have in our engineering program. Last year, we were highlighted for the way our teachers and students basically started manufacturing protective equipment for local hospitals, just really out of the blue. It was a brainchild of one of our students, and Mr. Smutak, who's one of our teachers, he'll come up on the next slide because he's a statewide master teacher and community lead for Project Lead the Way. Our school and our program is the first program in New England, one of just 2 of the 70 nationally that are as part of the CAPS network, which is a network of programs that merge professional studies with what we try to do academically. And so again, speaking to those pathways, we had 4 of our 5 fall sports were named to the academic honor roll, which speaks to the commitment that our students have in and out of the classroom. Mr. Carboni's here. The athletic protocols that he has helped develop for COVID-19, cold weather, return to play have been used as a model for the state. Just last week, we found out, or last couple of weeks, we were recognized for our work in the pandemic as one of only about 200 programs or schools in the entire country. Mr. DeMeglio and I have presented both at the state and the national level. I presented at a national conference last week. Our visual arts students have earned awards at the Boston Globe Scholastic Art Awards. We're just our performing arts, our band has traveled and gone away to competition and earned medals of superior performance. Now I'm going to put Mr. Smutak on the spot because I didn't mention him earlier. Mr. Smutak, did I forget anything on the engineering side that we've done in the last couple of years?
No, that sounds good. All the press and everything we got last year from the COVID face masks, that kind of, like you said, just kind of fell on our lap, and we were able to take information from students and spread apart some of our equipment that we have here and really help out the situation with the pandemic. So no, I think that's really, you hit it right on the head. We also work with a bunch of industry partners, and one of the things we're working on right now is to try to get, as your students get older, they'll be doing caps. They have the opportunity to do capstone projects and internships. It's actually working with real businesses, in whatever field that they choose to go into, versus just hearing the same thing from their teachers over and over again for 4 or 5 years. They get to really go out and experience that, and I think that's a really authentic and cool experience for them. So looking forward to that as well.
Thanks, Mr. Smutak. You'll get a copy of this slide presentation. We present information in a lot of different forms. My guess is some people will say it's overwhelming at times, but we post things to the website. Every email that we send out from the community gets stored back on my blog spot. So, if you want to reflect back on an email and you're trying to search for something, I post everything that we send, or almost everything we send, onto that blogspot site. We do a podcast every couple of weeks and occasionally release some highlight videos. We're pretty active, particularly Mr. Carboni and I, on Twitter. We haven't quite mastered Instagram, and I'm not using TikTok. So sorry for those of you who are hoping to find me dancing on TikTok. Next steps. Before we say hello to our counselors, who will be sort of our last stop on this virtual tour tonight, you're going to get that tiny URL that's there is a sign up link to sign up for tours to come to UHS and see the building. Think of it as a virtual museum or virtual self-guided tour. And as you walk around the building, you'll see QR codes posted. And if you use a camera on your phone to scan them, you'll be able to pick up videos from a lot of our teachers, clubs, organizations, sharing what we do here on a day-to-day basis. If you need help with any of those tours, any of those open houses, you need to have an interpreter here. You need to have sign language. You need to have anything that you could possibly, you want to get up and down the stairs, but you broke an ankle and we need to make sure we can get you in out of the elevator. We are going to do that. So just contact us for any unique circumstances or questions. So some people, that's me with my little boy's haircut on the left. That's Mr. DeMeglio on the right. And you can always reach out to either of us. We take, we're constantly on our emails. We'll return phone calls if that's easier. I'm happy to sit down and meet with parents if they feel like that would be helpful. Mr. D, before we introduce the guidance counselors, anything you want to chime in with?
Yeah, sure. Glad I'm not muted. Sometimes that happens. But anyway, I just wanted to welcome all the parents that showed up tonight. It's awesome. And I think you'll notice the underlying theme is really, for me, an old middle school guy. I taught at the middle school level, administrated at the middle school level. And one of the things that really excited me about middle school, that's now exciting me about high school, is exploratory. And it's a chance for, 8th graders to explore all different fields so that they can find their niche in life. And that's what it's all about. And when kids can find that niche early on, they do so much better. And it's hitting me right in the face, Mr. Rubin, as you're talking. It brings me back a little bit. And again, the underlying theme is exploratory. And we have so much to offer at Uxbridge High School, and it's there waiting for you to just, get into it and learn and ask questions and get involved. It's so important. And I really think it's a benefit to you moving through your education. And I just want to welcome everybody, and please feel free to contact us anytime. Mr. Rubin.
Thank you, sir. There was a question that came up in the chat that spoke about, what sort of career planning we do with our students. Ms. Cotter, Ms. Smith, and Ms. Toto are our guidance team. They will presumably be our guidance team next year. And Ms. Saccone is also in the house. She doesn't have a cool avatar yet, but she will. So I'd like to, Ms. Saccone's our adjustment counselor. I'd like to give all 4 of them an opportunity. I'm not sure if all 4 of them are here, but I'd like to give our counseling team an opportunity to say hello and to give you a sense of how we work on career plans and maps with our kids over the course of their 5 years with us. So why don't I turn it over to guidance first, and then Ms. Saccone, you can talk a little bit about the role adjustment plays in the broader scheme of things. So I know Ms. Smith is here, and I think Ms. Cotter's here too.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are so excited to welcome you guys into the building next year. I've certainly loved bringing the 8th graders in. It has allowed us to just grab a hold on the students earlier and what can be better. So my name's Ashley Smith. I have students with last names A through G-O. Ms. Cotter is here as well. She has students with last names P through Z. And Ms. Toto, who is not currently here, she has students with G-R through O. So basically, starting in 8th grade, we don't want there to be this sort of scary idea that like it's just this in-depth career exploration in the sense that students like have to start necessarily thinking about what they want to do. It's more we pull it back and we get students to start to get to know themselves, to have an idea of how they study, how they can sort of keep themselves organized, start to communicate and advocate for themselves, those soft skills that Mr. Rubin had mentioned. So we really work with them in terms of starting to explore their strengths and their interests, tie that together with some elective opportunities that become available to them. And then over the course of 5 years, we use different platforms to work on different assessments to then say, okay, what's your personality style? What's your learning style? What careers go along with that? And we just start, again, having that exposure start earlier and sooner, trying to connect them with different people, different opportunities, so that they can have a better idea of what it is they may want to study if college is the route for them, or where they may want to go into work if the workforce is the route for them. Every student has a very individualized plan and goal for post-secondary needs come their senior year. And it's truly the more we get to know the student, the better we can help assist them with that plan, even down to course selection. Right now, we're meeting with every single student one-on-one to really dive in to get a sense of, okay, what are you interested in? Okay, I think this class would be a good fit for you. Of course, there's going to be those required courses, but as the students get to move forward and throughout high school, that schedule is going to open up more and more and present with more elective opportunity. And that's where that exploratory path is going to be awesome. And then we can start sort of sprinkling in our suggestions along the way.
I don't know if Ms. Cotter wants to say anything at this point.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Miss Cotter. I didn't know if Allison was going next. Yeah, so my caseload is P through Z. So I'm actually new to Uxbridge High School this year. And one of my favorite things about Uxbridge High School is that we have the 8th graders. I think it's a great opportunity for us to get to know you over, 5 years. So some of the, Ms. Smith really covered it all. Some of the other things that we kind of like to cover in 8th grade is, especially with the new, obviously a lot of you have been getting used to email this year. So we've worked a lot on email etiquette with our 8th graders. We worked a lot on organizational tools. Of course, when you come into high school, there's that huge added piece of time management and organization, but your school counselors are here to help you with that. So it's not something to be intimidated by. And we're super excited to have you.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Ms. Saccone. I'm the adjustment counselor at the high school. For those of you that know Ms. DeStefano at the middle school, that's kind of like my role here at the high school. So I'm in the guidance wing. So when you walk in the main building, to your left is the main office and to the right is the guidance suite. So all of the guidance counselors are in there, as well as Ms. Furtaco, who is our school psychologist, and Ms. Tobin, who is our special ed team chair. And I think one of the most special things about that department and that wing is any student can come down if you're having an issue, whether it's in class or with a peer or outside of school or just a transition issue. We know 8th grade transitioning in can be a little challenging sometimes. You might be nervous about things, and anybody in that guidance wing is willing to talk with you, kind of figure out a plan, work with your teachers if you need any support. There's lots of different types of supports that we can offer students based on what they might be needing. So for parents, for students, if anybody has any questions or concerns as the fall starts with that transition, feel free to first call your guidance counselor, and then if they need extra support, they'll give us a call and let us know.
Awesome.
So thank you, counseling team. I appreciate you taking some time tonight to be with us. I'm going to run through some of the questions that were in the chat. Most of them I think have been answered for the through the presentation. The most recent question was about the encouraging of diversity and acceptance in staff and students. From a student perspective and from a curricular standpoint, we've built lessons on this, embedded it into, for example, our grade 8 civics program has lessons on this. The grade 8, 9, and 10 English programs all embed lessons on this. The health classes have a great deal of conversations on interpersonal relationships and connectivity perceptions. World language has integrated this into the curriculum as well. So it's become an ongoing goal of ours to incorporate the language of diversity and acceptance. We've been fortunate that we've been able to bring some individuals in who have this as a passion, really, as things they can integrate to the curriculum, particularly in some of the humanities, where it's a little bit easier to maybe have some of this dialogue. We've integrated some of it in, we've integrated some of it with our advisory, and also some of the lessons that the guidance counselors will do with the students directly, particularly in the younger grades. We don't want to wait until grades 9 of 12, not 11 or 12, I'm sorry. As far as when students would decide whether they want to continue with band or not, we would say probably early May would be probably the latest for us. Ms. Smith and Ms. Cotter, Ms. Toto will be working with students as far as, what would you say, probably May, we would probably want to finalize those numbers from the 8th graders.
Yeah, May would be great.
We have a question if any of our staff members are people of color. We have not, admittedly, not many. We probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anywhere from 6 to 8 of our teachers who are different minority statuses that I know of. We have a number of different religions, sexual orientations, gender identities, things that we don't really talk about while we're interviewing, obviously, but we have a pretty diverse staff over the last few years, and we participate actually in some job fairs closer to the city, where we're trying to, again, diversify our staff, so all of our students feel like there's somebody on our staff that they connect to. Our typical school day begins at 7:30, continues to 1:55. The students are enrolled in 7 classes. 6 of them meet each day, and that's in a typical school year. Lunch, again, in a typical school year, starts around 10:40 or so and runs till a little bit after noon. We have 4 lunches on a we've moved that to 5 lunches this year because of with our planned, again, stay tuned to those of you who are going to be here tomorrow for grade 8 through 12 reopening. We're having we've added an extra lunch, but the middle of the morning we have a period that's a little longer than the others, that allow the students to have what we call flex block. We open up breakfast. We give students opportunities to get extra help, make up assignments, things that they would not ordinarily be able to do. Every class drops once in 7 days. Whatever class drops, when it returns to the cycle, it goes to the very first class of the day. And again, some changes with that this year because of COVID, but moving forward, we anticipate returning to that schedule. Let's see, I'm just going to go back through the chat really quickly, make sure. Can a student do both band and exploratory? They could. If that's the case, they probably wouldn't take Spanish until they went to grade 9, or later, depending on their goals. And are elective classes available to just 8th grade, or available to the 8th grade? Again, in some cases, yes, but we talked about that with the exploratory. The other question that sometimes comes up is about lockers. Mr. DeMeglio, you want to talk a little bit about the locker phenomenon, as we've seen it really change over the last 3 years?
We have, I'd say 4 years ago, every student wanted a locker, and then as the years progressed, we slowly started seeing less and less students using their lockers. We will assign lockers to every student. And we put out surveys to the seniors just to see who doesn't need them, and we'll probably get 50% of the seniors that use them, and 50%, will not. So we do have lockers for every student in the building, both in the locker rooms when they change to go to the gym and get outside and do stuff and do sports. They have an assigned gym locker as well as a regular school locker. Their passwords, well, their codes will be right on their iPad so that they can access, if they forget their locker combination, it's right on their iPad, so that they can remember. The first week is always a little bit of a struggle, but teachers are great helping kids out, getting into their lockers and stuff. But like we said, a lot of kids aren't opting to use lockers, but we will assign them.
The last thing that I just wanted to touch on is, when we get to the tour registration, you will all get a link to this Sign Up Genius. When you sign up for whatever tour slot you'd like, so let's say you're me and you want to sign up for the very first time here on next Wednesday, the 31st at 4 o'clock. When you click sign up and then you click submit, all that we ask you to do when you get to the next page is type your student's name in the box here, your first name, your last name, your email address. If you want a phone number, that's so you get a text reminder from the site, not because we're trying to collect your phone numbers. And where it says if you have any specific needs, we would ask that you can contact the high school office. This does not give me automatic updates. So if you could contact the high school office. The other thing that's really important is make sure the quantity stays 1. Even if you bring 8 people, make sure it says 1, because we have it set up so that there's room for like 25 families in each time slot, and each family equals 1. When you click sign up now, you will get a confirmation email, and like I said, a text if you want it. It's not coming from me, it's coming from the school, from the site. And if you don't want a tour, you don't have to have a tour. You're welcome to just wait till the summer when we're back here. While I was chatting, will the students meet with guidance counselors? For grade 8, we'll meet with them down at Whiten, and we'll have a quick assembly with the students. We're waiting on that until after everybody's back and we find a good time. But because the schedule is so prescriptive, really it's English, math, science, social studies, wellness, exploratory, and then typically Spanish, or band or chorus. That we typically, if there's something specific, or if a student wants to meet, we would set up a time to meet with a guidance counselor. Or you could reach out to Mr. Flanagan at the Whiten, and he would be able to facilitate something. And Ms. Smith just said the same thing. So perfect. We're all on the same page. Ms. Smith has just indicated that parents can reach out to our school counselors to set up a Zoom. We could do it with the student. We could do it student and parent. We could do it just the parent. Really whatever is everyone's pleasure. And like I said, I'll be around the day of those tours. I think Mr. DeMeglio will be here a little bit as well. They're after hours, so I can't promise that we'll have a lot of the staff here, just because they have other responsibilities at those times. So I think that is about it. So
I see a
what
couple-
you will get from us, oh, Mr. Silbor, hand up.
A couple things before you go. If we go back to that list of accomplishments, I noticed that there was something written but not said, and that our principal was the state principal of the year, which is the first time in our history, and it's no small thing.
Thank
And
you.
the other thing is my daughter's in 8th grade now, and I couldn't ask for a better schedule, group of teachers, their combination of patience and accountability, the guidance, the supports, I mean, everything. And we have super nurse Tara Schiller keeping everything together too. So I just want to put it out there. It's a great place to be. My daughter's doing awesome because of the help.
Thank you, Mr. Silbor. And I don't like to talk about myself. So it's quite an honor, but it's a team honor. And I said that the day I received the award. There are a lot of great things happening here, and we are really blessed to have a great team here. And we're going to keep marching forward with the class of 2026 as our next part of this adventure. And if you need support, if you need help, I hope the theme you heard here was we're certainly here to support that. We're here to assist with the transition, and we'll have lots of things coming up in the next few weeks as we move forward. So seeing no other questions, I'm going to hit stop record.
Mr. Rubin, I have one question. Christy has a question.
Sure.
I have two quick questions, actually.
Sure.
So you said that we could sign up for the tour.
Yep.
So what if I do want to go, but I can't 100% confirm a date within the next couple weeks?
Let us know.
My next question is, so for me especially, will you guys be setting up an interpreter for all of these meetings, or am I going to have to ask you guys for everyone just to remind you?
We'll make sure we have it. If with the tour, it's a little bit more complicated, but we will do whatever we can. If we know ahead of time the date and time that you can come for something like a tour, we'll take care of it. For things that are parent town hall based, we'll make sure of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. She just couldn't see me, so I'm just going to reiterate that to her.
Sure. So cool.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. And on that note, I'm going to say good night, I think. And Mr. DeMeglio and I will see you here soon. I am going to hit